Hello everyone. Today, we, the students of FYBA Economics from Kishan Chand Chalaram College, Mumbai, present before you the SLE project of Group 11 on the topic Economies and Diseconomies of Scale. Now let's begin with the story of Mona's artifacts. She started with a small artifact making business and she sold them at rupees 20 each. The raw materials with which she made artifacts with cost her rupees 5 each and she spent 1000 rupees per month as the rent of the space she needed. In the first month, 10 orders generated her 200 rupees, but she had to pay 1050 rupees for making those artifacts. And so she had to bear a loss of rupees 850. However, in the second month, 500 orders generated her 10,000 rupees, and so she secured an excess profit of rupees 6,500. Due to this, she began to buy raw materials in a bulk, but eventually, as the production expanded, she required more space and her suppliers ran out of inventories, which compelled her to buy inventories from expensive vendors. Thus, initially she experienced economies of scale, but soon she had to face diseconomies of scale too. But if her production process had continued at a constant pace, she could have experienced constant returns to scale as well. Therefore, when production processes of firms generate positive profits, they bring economies of scale. But after a point, when firms extensively prosper, all their economies turn into diseconomies. Wondering how? Stay tuned to know more. Handing it over to Aryaman.
Hello everyone. Today I'm here to tell you a bit more about internal economies of scale. Hope you will find it meaningful enough. Here I go. Internal economies of scale refer to economies that are unique to a firm. For instance, a firm may hold a patent over a mass production machine, which allows it to lower its average cost of production more than other firms in the industry. An internal economy of scale measures a company's efficiency of production. That efficiency is attained as the company improves output when the average cost per product drops. This type of economy of scale is a consequence of a company's size and is controlled by its management team, such as workforce, production, measures, and machinery. The factors, therefore, are independent of the entire industry. In the graph below, we can see that the internal economies of scale cause AC to fall because all the resources which the industries have are being utilized even more efficiently. There are many kinds of internal economies of scale. Technical economies of scale are achieved through the use of large-scale capital machines for production processes. The classic example of a technical internal economy of scale is Henry Ford's assembly line. Another type occurs when firms purchase in bulk and receive discounts for their large purchases or a lower cost per unit of input. Cuts in administrative costs can cause marginal productivity to decline, resulting in economies of scale. Internal economies of scale offer greater competitive advantages than external economies of scale. This is because an external economy of scale tends to be shared among competitor firms. The invention of the automobile or the internet helped producers of all kinds. If borrowing costs decline across the entire economy because the government is engaged in expansionary monetary policy, the lower rates can be captured by multiple firms. This does not mean any external economy of scale is a wash. Companies can still take relatively greater or lesser advantage of external economies of scale. Nevertheless, internal economies of scale embody a greater degree of exclusivity. There are five main types of internal economies of scales: bulk buying economies, technical economies, financial economies, marketing economies, and managerial economics. Handing it over to Sanjana.
Internal diseconomies of scale. We have seen that returns to scale increases in the initial stage and after remaining constant for a while, it decreases. The question arises why we get decreasing returns due to which cost rises. The answer is that initially a firm enjoys internal economies and beyond a certain limit it experiences internal diseconomies of scale. Internal diseconomies are the following kinds. First is technical diseconomies. The major reason of internal diseconomies is the emergence of technical difficulties. In every firm, there is an optimum point of technical economies, and if a firm operates beyond the optimum limits, it experiences diseconomies of scale. For example, an electricity generating plant will have lowest cost per unit when it produces 1 million kilowatts, which has the optimum capacity. And if a firm generates beyond the limit, it will result in technical diseconomies. Second, we have managerial diseconomies. When the firm expands beyond the optimum limit, it becomes difficult for the managers to manage or to coordinate the process of production. Communications between the managers and the laborers or among different sectors of managers become difficult, which leads to delays in decision making or implementation of decision already made. Financial diseconomies. A firm which has a goodwill would be ideal firm for an investors to invest. But if the firm's scale of production increases beyond the optimum limit, then the cost of financial capital rises due to relatively greater dependence on external finances. Another, we have marketing diseconomies. Firms can benefit from economies of advertising. As the scale of production rises, advertising cost per unit output also falls, and the firm experiences diseconomies after an optimum scale. For example, advertising expenditure and other marketing overheads will increase more than proportionately after the optimum level. Last, we have risk bearing. An error in decision making by the top management may adversely affect the performance of the firms, resulting in losses. So, this was the explanation of internal diseconomies of scale. Handing it over to Jason.
External economies of scale. Now what are external economies? They impact the industry as a whole, reduce the average cost of the company, as you can see in the diagram. According to Cairncross, external economies are those which are shared in by a number of firms. When the scale of production increases, its effect causes a change in factor prices. For example, you could say better transportation network to an industry. Now this concept leads to a phenomenon known as agglomeration economy, which says if two or more separate industries are incidentally beneficial to one another, there can be external economies of scale across the entire group. External economies have several advantages. They can drive industry growth in particular regions as well as encourage rapid economic development of the whole area. Economies of scale may also reduce variable costs per unit. Disadvantages, however, include individual firms have no direct control over what happens externally. A company hence can't have competitive edge. External economies may develop so strongly in one area that you can't shift the industry anywhere else. Because of poor management, a business might not be able to exploit existing external economies. Significance. Expansion of an industry may lead to discovery of new technical know-how. As the industry grows, the training facilities for labor will increase, leading to skilled labor. With industrial expansion, the firms may give technical knowledge to the publication of trade and technical journals. They could also set up research institutes. Now I hand over to Vivek.
Hi guys, hope you all are enjoying this talk. So I'm here to give you some insights on external diseconomies. Basically, it refers to factors that occur outside the firm's control. For example, the local infrastructure may result in employees getting stuck in traffic or suffer from train delays. This may result in staff being late, stressed, and hence unproductive. So now let's discuss some types of diseconomies and its effects. First is diseconomies of pollution. As an industry grows, it can create additional costs to the local population or national population. For example, several factories may open in close proximity to each other in order to benefit from different entities like banks, public washrooms, waste collection spots, etc. Such factories may create additional costs in the form of pollution to its local areas, affecting people's health. Its effects are poor health and decrement in prices of houses and properties due to pollution. Second type is limited natural resources. All industries require a number of resources. So as the industry grows, it uses more and more resources. As a result, the existing resources become rarer and more expensive. Its effects are higher prices to the consumer. Obviously, as a resource becomes rare, its prices increases, right? Higher salaries. So if skilled laborers are in high demand, it is difficult to attract them from the limited supply. So they offer higher salaries, and as a result, the cost of production increases. Third is infrastructure diseconomies. It occurs when an industry grows so large that it starts to put a strain on local or government infrastructure. Let's say, for example, roads may become congested due to traffic on highways or crowd in markets. Certain industries like transportation of goods, taxis, and retail shops are more prone to it. When it takes an extra hour to deliver goods to the store, it ultimately results in extra cost to the final product. That was all about external diseconomies. Passing it on to Ishita.
Now, finally, let's look at some solutions to overcome diseconomies by distributing managerial activities into small units, by taking help of social media to connect to real customers, and by inculcating the principles of reduce, reuse, and recycle. And on this thoughtful note, Team 11 signs off. Thank you for your time and please stay safe.